Welcome back. Welcome back, dear viewers. Now it's time for our daily press review, and we start off from alAhram newspaper, and we read the following headline: President Fattah al-Sisi holds talks with the President of Djibouti. President Fattah al-Sisi received on Monday President of Djibouti Ismail Omar Gul, who is on an official visit to Egypt. Presidential spokesman Ambassador Ala Youssef said that the two leaders held bilateral talks session. It was followed by an expanded talks session which included delegations from both countries. President Sisi welcomed Djibouti's president and his accompanying delegation, expressing Egypt's appreciation for Djibouti's supporting stances toward Egypt in the African Union's Peace and Security Council after the 30th of June revolution. President Sisi said that these stances strengthen depth of special and historical ties between the two countries. Sisi also stressed on Egypt's keenness on strengthening cooperation with Djibouti in various fields, especially in economic and trade sectors. The president pointed to the continued Egyptian support to Djibouti in the fields of development through the Egyptian Agency of Partnership for Development. He also stressed on Egypt's keenness to intensify coordination and consultation with Djibouti to face current challenges in the Horn of Africa. For his part, the President of Djibouti expressed his appreciation for the warm reception, stressing on the strength of historical ties and cooperation between the two countries. He also praised Egypt for standing alongside Djibouti since its independence. President Ismail Omar also welcomed the activation of cooperation between the two countries in different fields, stressing on working to boost economic ties and promote trade. Regional and international issues of common interest were also discussed during the talks. After the talks, the two leaders witnessed the signing of 7 agreements between the two countries in the fields of economy, trade, health, medicine, technical education, the import and export of meat, participation in international exhibitions and markets, as well as cooperation between the Suez Canal Authority and the Port Authority and free zones in Djibouti.
And moving to alAhram newspaper, where read Prime Minister Sharif Ismail on Monday stressed that the existing coordination between the government and the central bank is in terms of monetary and fiscal policies. It succeeded to provide foreign exchange, to provide local market with essential commodities, petroleum products, as well as medicine in suitable prices, and he directed them to the sectors with priority to maintain the social stability. In a press statement, the Prime Minister said that the coordination between the government and the central bank aims to strengthening financial and monetary stability in order to increase rates of economic development and achieve price stability in the market. The Prime Minister added that the coordination also aims to provide necessary fund for production requirements and raw materials in order to push forward industrial growth. The Prime Minister pointed out that the central bank allocated $1.8 billion to complete the plan of providing enough stocks of basic commodities for a period of 6 months. Also Monday, Prime Minister Sharif Ismail headed the Economic Group Ministerial meeting. The meeting tackled the prices, file and availability of supply goods to citizens, the recent developments in the monetary markets, as well as the economic and financial situations. The meeting also discussed maintaining prices of main food commodities and providing all the necessary funds in order to provide protection for the low-income people. The ministers also discussed proposals to promote the national product as it contributes in reducing the import bill and also to ease the pressure on hard currency. The Prime Minister also followed on efforts to encourage investments and provide the necessary climate for investors. The meeting also focused on the projects that aim to attract investments, as well as the development works underway in the national projects.
And moving to Al-Yom Al-Saba newspaper, and we read France invites Egypt to attend France-Africa Summit. Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry received on Monday the French Minister of State for Development and Francophone, Jean-Marie Le Guen. Both sides emphasized on the distinguished relations between Egypt and France, stressing the importance to boost these relations in political, economic and military fields, as well as the fight against terrorism, which poses a danger to everyone. The French minister also invited Egypt to participate in France-Africa summit, which is scheduled to be held next January in Mali. During the meeting, Shukri reviewed the Egyptian vision to combat terrorism in a comprehensive approach that aims at trapping the terrorist organizations in terms of funding and weaponry. Shukri added that the approach also aimed at fighting against extremist ideology, pointing out to the role of the Egyptian religious institutions in this regard. For his part, the French minister praised the Egyptian vision as well as efforts that are being exerted to combat this phenomenon. Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri also reviewed the Egyptian-European relations in light of his recent meeting with EU Foreign Policy Chief on the sidelines of the Euro-Arab ministerial meeting in Cairo. Shukri also reviewed the Egyptian government's economic reform program and the unprecedented economic decisions which have recently been taken to accelerate development. He also pointed to Egyptian keenness to encourage French investments in Egypt. During the meeting, Shukri also briefed the French minister about the Egyptian stances towards important regional crises, particularly the situation in Syria.
And moving to اليوم السابع, where the Minister of Trade and Industry announced that the Eurasian Economic Union Summit agreed during the meeting on Monday in St. Petersburg to start the free trade negotiations between the Union and Egypt. The Eurasian Economic Union's meeting was attended by the heads of states of the Union's members, including Russia, Kazakhstan, Armenia, and Kyrgyzstan. The minister said in a statement that this decision was a result of intensive efforts conducted by the ministry during the last stage, which saw coordination at the highest levels with the member of states of the Union. He said these efforts, including explanation about the importance of this agreement to make a quantum leap in the level of trade and investment relations between Egypt and the countries of the Union. The minister said trade relations are expected to witness a big leap, to jump from $3.5 billion currently to $15.7 billion after the conclusion of the agreement. The minister said that he had held a series of intensive talks during his recent visit to Russia on the sidelines of St. Petersburg International Forum last June with Syrian Russian officials as well as the Eurasian Union. The minister said that the Ministry of Trade and Industry has sent a high-level technician team to Russia, adding that the team held extensive meetings with the union's officials to explain the advantages and benefits of this agreement for both Egypt and the countries of the Union.
And moving to اليوم السابع newspaper, and we read Russian security delegation visits Cairo International Airport. A Russian security team begins an inspection for all equipment and services in Terminal 2 building at Cairo International Airport as part of Russia's plan for the resumption of flights to the Egyptian airports. Civil aviation sources pointed out that Egyptian airports have been equipped with the latest inspection devices. They said that the storage capacity of surveillance cameras has been increased to up to 30 days. They added that fingerprint biometric devices were installed in Sharm el-Sheikh and Hurghada airports, adding that Terminal 2 building at Cairo International Airport will install fingerprint biometric devices next January. The first cargo plane from Egypt to Russia took off on Saturday after 1 year halt of flights between the two countries. Earlier, 4 Russian airlines have asked the Russian Federal Agency for Air Transport to allow the resumption of flights between Egypt and Russia. The Russian news agency reported that the airlines requested permission to restart flights between the two countries. Civil Aviation Minister Sharif Fathi had visited Moscow and met with his Russian counterpart to discuss ways to resume tourism and aviation links between the two countries. Sokolov also visited Egypt to hold talks with officials on the resumption of flights between the two countries.
And moving to الأخبار, where we read the Minister of Antiquities, Dr. Khaled Al-Anani, announced a 20% discount on passes allowing access to the archaeological sites and across Egypt starting from January 2017 and for a month. This came after the approval of the Supreme Council of Antiquities in the last meeting on the discounts. Al-Anani explained that the decision was taken on the occasion of celebrating Christmas and New Year as a step to promote the visit of the archaeological sites in a bid to attract tourism. And we have also a report about Prime Minister Sharif Ismail for coordination between the government and the central bank.
Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry received on Monday French Minister of State for Francophone and Development Jean-Marie Le Guen. During the meeting, Shoukry hailed the distinguished relations between Egypt and France in political, economic and military fields, especially in combating terrorism. Foreign Ministry spokesman Ahmed Abu Zaid said that the foreign minister reviewed the Egyptian-European relations and said that Egypt looks forward to France's support in pan-European institutions. Shoukry added that Egypt is keen to encourage French investment in the country. For his part, the French minister hailed Egypt's regional role towards the situation in the region, adding that Egypt adopted moderate positions which correspond to European visions. The French minister also extended an invitation to Egypt to participate at France-Africa Summit on January 14th in Mali.
And moving to Al-Watan newspaper, and we read Kazakhstan's Nazarbayev says ready to host Syria peace talks in Astana. Kazakh President Nursultan Nazarbayev said on Monday that he was ready to host multilateral talks on the conflict in Syria and Kazakhstan. During a visit to Russia, where he has been meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin, Nazarbayev said that Kazakhstan is ready to host all sides for talks in Astana, adding that Kazakhstan will provide all conditions for the talks on Syria. Putin said on Friday that Russia, Iran, Turkey and Syrian President Bashar al-Assad had all agreed the Kazakh capital should be the venue for new Syrian peace negotiations. Last week, Russia, Iran and Turkey held talks in Moscow, after which they said they were ready to help in a Syrian peace deal. Russian airstrikes were instrumental in helping Syrian President Bashar al-Assad to wipe out rebel resistance this month in the northern city of Aleppo, handing him his biggest victory in nearly 6 years of war and strengthening his negotiating hand. Previous diplomatic attempts to end the conflict have repeatedly failed. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister said that he expected the talks to take place in mid-January. News agencies quoted Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov as saying that he wouldn't talk about timing, adding that contacts were being made and preparation was underway for the meeting. Putin has said that the next step for Syria would be a nationwide ceasefire.
And moving to the newspaper, we read the Egyptian bourses indices were mixed on Monday. The benchmark index EGX 30 was down 0.56% to close at 12,182.4 points amid the declines of the leading stocks. Meanwhile, the small and medium caps index EGX 70 was up to 1.23% to reach 459.45 points, while the broader index EGX 100 added 0.46% to reach 1089.42 points. The equal weight index EGX 50 was up to 0.6% to close at 1925.6 points. The market capitalization lost £1.4 billion to reach £597.5 billion.
And moving to alAhram, and we read cold weather expected on Tuesday. Meteorologists predict cold weather to prevail Tuesday on the north of the country until the north of Upper Egypt. The meteorologists said that weather will be very cold at night, especially on central Sinai and north of Upper Egypt, with temperatures in Cairo expected to be 15 and 9. Medium and low level clouds are expected on the north of the country, with heavy rain expected on the north coast, moderate rain on Cairo and north and central Sinai, and light rain on the north of Upper Egypt. The wind will be northwestern and will be active across the country and on both the Red Sea and the Mediterranean, possibly affecting maritime navigation. Waves in the Mediterranean are expected to average between 3 and 3.5 meters high, while in the Red Sea, waves are expected to average between 2 and 2.5 meters high, with northwestern wind on both seas.
And by this, we come to the end of the press review, so please stay tuned for more coming up in Breakfast Show.